How much the Lego City actually got damaged and how exactly the mountain looks over in the new location I'll show you in today's video, but first of all, we have to start with the transportation. Guys, I'm so nervous about this. These are all my mountain modules and by far the most dangerous part of the entire transportation. Wish me luck, hopefully everything survives. I'll tell you, I was driving so carefully and so slowly, probably really angering the drivers behind us, but that didn't matter because the damage that was caused back in the trunk was minor and only to the mountain modules that were already damaged. At this point, I still didn't know that, was then checking out the modules I've transported, seeing there was no damage caused, and was so relieved, I can't even tell you. Although the most dangerous part was already done at this point, we still had to get up all the mountain modules into my new Lego City room, and well, this is also what I spent the rest of the day doing, unloading modules, repacking new things, and within one day I already felt that I was once again running out of space. I have no idea how this is happening to me all the time. Then, since we rented the Sprinter, I was also using it the next few days to buy the remaining wooden plates I needed for the table for my Lego City, and now, as the table is finished for the first time, you can really see the size of this new place. Isn't this just incredible? All this area right here you can see will be empty. The only part that will be covered, you'll see that in just a second, is the very back where I'm currently working towards, where the mountain and the rest of the city that already exists is going to be. And with that being said, let's start rebuilding everything, beginning with the heart and the core of the city, the mountain, of course. As you might have already seen during my intro, there was one mountain module where the entire base plate simply decided to fall off, including the tunnel. That was a bit annoying, so I had to rebuild this entire module right there, which wasn't too easy because of the weight of the mountain that was still remaining. Therefore, I had to be quite careful placing that onto the part I then rebuilt. Another mountain module got damaged. I know this was a bit avoidable because, well, I also told you last video that this module is probably not going to survive. But also, as that was repaired, I could then finally start rebuilding the rest of the city as well. Firstly, starting with the giant puzzle of reconnecting all the modules. First of all, without the buildings, because I took them off before transporting everything, so they didn't get damaged. What was a bit more difficult was replacing the entire parking area right there and also the streets. They received minor damage. What really survived perfectly were all the parts of the houses I took off before moving. And this was saving me so much time, you have no idea. But as I'm rebuilding the city right now, you can see the importance of vegetation. At this point, although most of the buildings are already standing, the city looks still empty and boring, to be honest with you. Also, I know cars are missing, and this is probably also quite an important part, there are no minifigures at this point. So although the structure is back to what it was before, I still needed to bring life into the city. All the buildings in front right there where the harbor is also survived perfectly. I mean, I really designed these buildings to survive the transportation because I already knew that I was moving pretty soon when designing these buildings. Then now to the, for me at least, most satisfying part of this update, adding all the trees, vegetation, cars, minifigures and so on. I know I'm still not finished at the moment. There are still quite a few things lying around and not being connected to the rest of the city, but this is what I'm going to do over the next few weeks, rebuilding the city to the point where it is as it was before me moving. Now, as you can see, in the meantime, I was rebuilding this rural area of my city with the half-timbered houses, and I'm probably going to place this small village a bit further away from my main part of the Lego City because I simply have so much space available. At some points I needed to fix this pattern right there with the tiling, but for the main part, this village was reassembled quite quickly. There you can see me moving around the village in order to get a first idea of how far away I want this village to be placed from the mountain and the rest of the city. These modules I'm placing back right there are probably going to be adapted quite a bit over the next few weeks because I want to switch up especially the train tracks. Oh yeah, and fixing that street right there, that was by far the most annoying part of this section right there. By the way, this is what the old Lego City looked like if I'm pushing the village into that corner, connecting it with the rest of the city, and well, you can now really see how small it actually was in comparison to the space we now have left. For the buildings of the upper platform, as you see, I still haven't built that yet. They all survived perfectly. Not a single tile or plate or whatever broke off during the transportation. And now it comes to modifying the layout. Because right here you can see that for the first time, this is a perspective you've never seen before of the city, because this is now the center point of the new room. and this wall right there was blocking the view of most of the city, and therefore this simply has to go. I still don't want to fully get rid of the upper platform, and therefore I'm simply turning that by 90 degrees, cutting down the size of the upper platform. And I think opening up this space really gives us so many opportunities. Standing here in the center of the new LEGO City room, I think you now get why I had to remove this wall right here, because it absolutely blocked the view onto the rest of the city, and now I've sort of shortened the upper platform to this back module right here, which has so many advantages. Opening up this entire space right here now allows me to add a lighthouse to this harbor area right here. I'll probably extend the harbor right there around the corner. All these buildings I built for the upper platform will of course be used also on this now lower section. These two train tracks coming from the train station right there will now most likely simply go around the corner, disappear in these two tunnels, and then lead behind this row of houses right there. Now going around the corner, we now have this giant open space. I of course decided to push this rural area of the city a bit further to the left because we simply have so much space right now. This now of course allows me to switch up the entire train system. For example, this curve right there, I'll switch up this entire 90-degree section to a 45-degree train track leading through the entire city, going around the corner and then leading to this station right there. This road will now most likely simply disappear in a tunnel in the back of my city because I want to extend the entire mountain front to first of all hide all the sockets in the back, and second of all elevate my entire layout towards the back because I think this is a nice backdrop in combination with all the clouds. And I think now as I'm standing in this corner right here, you can firstly really get an idea of the size of this new space I have available, which also allows me to tackle a project I was always quite hesitant about, but that was by far the most requested project on this channel, building an airport. I think we have this giant plate here available, which doesn't really connect to the rest of the city except in this corner right there, which now allows me to build two giant runways down there, probably also at an angle, and then maybe the terminal right there that then connects to the rest of the city. Probably build another city or town right there. Not too sure about which style I want to have, but this doesn't matter at this point. The thing is, if I'm ever building an airport, I think it's in this section right here, and now's the opportunity to do so. The most challenging part about this entire project will of course be the transition from the more modern looking terminal that's probably going to be right there onto this rural village style area in the center of my new layout. But I think I'll be able to manage that because I've also managed to create a transition from these half-timbered houses right there onto this completely different style just a meter away. So having double the space in between this rural area and then the more modern area will probably be the main reason I'll be able to connect these two parts. I could now probably continue talking about all the upcoming projects for 2 more hours or so, but now I want to ask you what your thoughts are on especially the airport, other ideas you have for different sections of the new LEGO City. I'm as hyped as never before to finally getting back to building LEGO, as we now have probably unlimited space, at least for the next 2-3 years or so. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited for the next videos, and I'll see you again in the next one.